My name is Robin Wofford. I'm a clinical assistant professor in LT, and in iTech. And I'm going to talk to you today about a program that I was involved in prior to coming to Georgia Southern full-time, and it was called Girls Who Game. So what we're going to talk about today is how I got involved and what the process we had to go through to get started, the curriculum that we used, how we brought in mentors, guest speakers, and our capstone project, what we learned, and then moving the organization or the club beyond P12. So pre-pandemic, I got an email from the director of instructional technology in the Cobb County School District. I was, prior to coming to Georgia Southern, I worked for Cobb County. I was a technology training integration specialist, and I served 4 elementary schools. There were 28 of us in the department. So I got an email from the director of instructional technology, my boss at the time, and she asked me if I would be interested in helping going to create 12 groups in the US and Canada, and create
your music.
a game club. So the purpose of the club was to encourage girls to go into STEM related fields. And they were going to do that by creating real world problem, or having them tackle real world problems and figure out how they might solve those problems through Minecraft. So there were 12 original groups in the US and Canada. I reached out to a local classroom teacher, one of my high flyers, and months later, after lots of paperwork, legal stuff, getting around firewalls, and innovating like sloths, we got started. Dell loaned us 16 laptops, which was neat. The school that I chose was a Title I school, but we were able to use we could have used the extra laptops. So I chose one of my teachers, as I said, Stephanie Burnett. She was at Hayes Elementary School, and she in this. And we purposefully looked for good students, but those that might be a little shy, a little reserved, that might not have done something like this on their own, to kind of help bring them out of their shell. So we were trained. We had to spend a couple of evenings on Zoom calls, and were trained by people that Dell hired to create the original curriculum. And when that was all done, we kind of thought that the curriculum didn't work for our kids. It was, Dell had outsourced this to a group of people. The curriculum itself was too deep for our elementary students. It was having them think about things that kids that age shouldn't deal with. And the approach was just a little bit too, kind of serious in the face, whatever. And it was 70% of watching videos and lecturing and 30% actual gaming, which is not what we were told it was going to be in the beginning. So we decided to create our own new curriculum. We didn't tell anybody, we just kind of did it on our own. What we found out later at the end of the program is that the 11 other groups did the same thing. So we knew that it needed to be something that was meaningful yet fun. We decided that it should be about 80% gaming. We used Greta Thunberg as a role model because she had that quote that she said that you're never too small to make a difference. And so we used her as a role model. We showed some of her videos on YouTube to the girls, and that kind of got them excited because, she wasn't that much older than them. And that way they could kind of see that maybe they could make a difference in the world. We also added a capstone project to our curriculum because in the original one by Dell, it was just kind of, okay, we're done. And we did final presentations and invited parents, people from the school district, administrators, other teachers. So we kind of had our own thing going. Our capstone project, we called the Kuleana Pono project. Those are Hawaiian words. Kuleana meaning responsibility, and Pono meaning to make a conscious decision to do the right thing. We told the girls, we challenged them to create a better world and to use Minecraft. And we told them that we would showcase all of this at the end of the program. They chose topics like climate change, clean water for communities, the fires, out in California, how they could handle disasters like that, and hopefully make the world a better place. We also brought in some mentors and guest speakers. Dell provided us with some of their female employees from Georgia, Florida, and Washington. And so they Skyped in with the girls 2 or 3 times during the program, and they were able to ask them questions and talk to them about, how they got into a STEM-related field. We also brought in local people, some people that I worked with in my department at the time, who came in and talked to them about how they became instructional technology specialists and how it was important to have girls go into that field. A typical meeting, we did the meetings on Thursday afternoons after school. It was part of the ASP project. All the kids that were in were ASP students after school. And we originally were supposed to start in August, but with all the paperwork and legalities and signing forms and all that stuff, we ended up going from October until the end of January. It was actually supposed to end in December, but our girls were so excited by what they were doing and were enjoying it so much that they asked us if we could continue on for a while longer. And then we ended in January. And then, of course, the pandemic hit later that year. We went 90 minutes for a meeting, and we would have an activity or guest speaker at the beginning. Then we would give them work time. And then the most important thing was we had snack time too. So what we learned about the girls is that they were very tech savvy and they're very creative. The creativity was not, there was not a shortage of that with these group of girls. Their projects were amazing. The picture of the 2 ladies on the right here, they're working on, they chose to build their version of an Oregon Trail version of climate change and making decisions. If you go this way, this is going to happen. If you go that way, that's going to happen. So it was actually pretty good, And then we also learned that, no matter how many chips and Oreos I brought to the meeting for snacks, it was never enough. So we also learned a lot from them, because at the end of the project, we had them do a reflection using Flipgrid. I don't know if you're familiar with Flipgrid or not, but you can set up what they call a grid, and you can invite your students in. You can ask them questions, and they can respond back to that. So each girl responded back on the fact that it was a rewarding experience. It gave, I think, the adults learned as much as they did about all of this. It was a very rewarding experience for us as well, and it gave me hope that there's a younger generation out there that's going to be able to fix some things that my generation messed up. So and we felt that based on their reflections, we also found that there was definitely a need for this activity. And so they wanted to continue, and we wanted to continue and expand. So our intent was to expand to other elementary schools in the school district. Cobb has 113 schools. So we were slowly going to expand this on out. In the picture there on the right, the lady on the left is the Dell representative for Georgia, and she gave the kids T-shirts. She had certificates and brought cupcakes and all that stuff for the final meeting. In the final meeting, like I said before, we did that for parents. It was really neat. Every child had at least one parent there, and that was kind of cool. The administrators from the school showed up, a couple of county office people showed up, and some other teachers in the school came as well. So it was a good experience for them. We cast their world on the touch panels that we had just had installed in the school district, and so they were able to walk us through everything, and everybody could see. So as I said, we wanted to grow within the district. Stephanie, the teacher, and I were, anytime we would tweet something about it, we would have people ask us, how can I start one of these at my school? And so we sat down and talked to some of the other administrators at the other 3 schools that I served. And we had one other school we found a sponsor. Everything was okayed with the principal. We had everything, ready to go. And of course, then, the pandemic happens. So it's still, the program is still growing though. There is a virtual version of it that Stephanie is still doing. And the Cobb County School District STEM department has taken over middle school and high school Girls Who Game clubs. So this past June, I did a virtual conference with Stephanie, and I presented on our experience with Girls Who Game. And in the audience, there was a representative there from Dell, from the educational part of Dell. And at the end, she stuck around and was talking to us about it. And she put me in touch with Dr. Hernan Londano. He's the higher ed rep for Dell for their education. And I had a conversation with him early August. Things were kind of getting, school was getting started and everything. And so we put that on hold. I told him I would get in touch with him. I owe him a phone call. So I don't know if he, would give, loan computers or whatever, but he would definitely be someone that would help, in the higher ed experience. So, how could we do this in higher ed? Well, there are groups that are doing this already. They're doing it as a club for a semester or for a school year term or whatever. And they're also doing it as a summer day camp. And they're doing it as events, like a one-day, event. And so we have this wonderful innovation studio that Mete gave me a tour of the other day. And I was thinking that it would be really cool if we could do this with undergraduates and have them come in and do it as a, maybe in the summer as a day camp, or as a one-day event to get started and eventually evolve into something bigger. And possibly when the pandemic is over, we can reach out to the local community, because I know that there's a good relationship there. So that was just kind of a quick question, or a quick overview of everything. It was kind of fast, but does anyone have any questions?
Robin, hi, it's Tracy Linderholm. How are you?
Hi, Tracy. I'm good. How are you?
I love this project, and I just wanted to mention, kind of in line with what you're thinking about with the Innovation Studio, there is a summer program run by the city called Youth Connect, and they are looking for ways, youth opportunities from age grade 9 to 12, to get them engaged, thinking about careers and future opportunities. And I think this could fit so nicely into that. And I sit on the Statesboro Youth Commission, and they could, we could help facilitate that. So keep that in the back of your mind, because I think this would be a really appropriate and meaningful project for the Youth Connect program.
That sounds fantastic. I would love to see that through. Anyone else?
Hey, Robin, it's Beth.
Hi, Beth. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Robin? Thanks for sharing this with us. Could you give me just a little bit more information about the design and development that the girls did? Like, what part of this did they do? What was their activity level in designing and developing their projects?
That's a good question. I had hoped that when I left Cobb that I could save some of those projects, but the way that Cobb works things is when you retire or leave or whatever, you've got about 10 minutes to get all your stuff pulled off their servers and everything. But what they did, like I said, we had one group of girls that worked together and they designed an Oregon Trail sort of thing where it was to do with climate change, making good choices and bad choices. There was another one who worked on saving marine life. And so she built a huge aquarium and talked about, this is how we can take care of the dolphin or whatever that's injured or sick or whatever, and then put them back out in the ocean. So it was pretty elaborate for 4th and 5th grade kids. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, just because I'm not familiar with the tools that they were using, I just wondered what it looked like for the girls when they sat down to actually do this.
Yes, and that's I should have downloaded Minecraft for Education here today, and I wish I thought about that. Minecraft is just a very basic program that everything works in blocks. So, like if you wanted to build a house, you would choose like a brick. And then you build it block by block. And they have, blocks of glass. You create a world, and it gives you basically a sort of generic world where there's like an ocean and there's land and there's trees and things like that. And of course, you can plant trees and they grow. And the education version of Minecraft is a little bit, subdued from the original version. The original version, you've got monsters and creepers and all those things that will attack you and set your house on fire and stuff like that. So the education version, they have what they call a peaceful mode, and you can create that world, and everything that you build, you won't have to worry about any of the scary stuff or whatever. Minecraft for Education is free. We could all probably get it with our Georgia Southern email addresses. And, so I'd love to I'll give you a tour of it sometime.
There is actually a virtual reality version at the studio. So you can, it's pretty immersive actually.
That is.
Yeah.
I'd like.
Thanks, Robin. I looked at the original Minecraft a long time ago, but I was not familiar with Minecraft for Education. So thanks.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you. Nowadays, either Apple or Microsoft or Google owns everything. So Microsoft happened to purchase Minecraft, and they have made it, educational. On the last slide that I've got, the question slide, and I'll put it back up in a second. I've got a QR code there, and there was a report on a group in four-day summer day camp for high school girls, and it was a news feature. So I'll put that back up toward the end. And as a matter of fact, I can probably copy that into the chat thing. So let me see if I can do that. Anybody else have any questions?
I think Holly, mentioned it in the chat too. I think doing this with the undergrads would be really powerful to get them have an experience with this environment that the kids are in. I don't know how long the kids are going to stay in Minecraft. There's probably going to be a new thing in 5 years, but
right
until that time.
And that Minecraft, they took it and adapted it to education. So hopefully whatever comes next, whether it's an, Oculus system or whatever, I have an Oculus 2, and it's pretty immersive. So, maybe that'll be something, that we could, use as well. So
thank you, Robert. I was looking at Holly's question in the chat, and I know Minecraft is, lots of students and teachers are using it across the content area. So I think it really has that flexibility. I'm not sure at what level and where our students get introduced to that as a possible teaching tool, as both pedagogy and maybe, different engagement, if it's not in technology courses. But I would love to be able to see how we can also offer our pre-service students sort of professional development workshops. So this is the value added. And, so something like this I see wouldn't necessarily be a long-term, it's a familiar thing for them from their childhood, or have at least heard of it. And for them to start thinking, I'm a, social studies teacher or math teacher, the content that I would be teaching, or even as an extracurricular within a school that they are in. I'm not sure if that's something that all of you are open to. It could be one of the Innovation Studio and the ISRC sort of offerings, and we can help our pre-service teachers start thinking as professionals and take professional development workshops outside of their current pathways that helps them in their resume also.
That's a great idea. I would love to help, with something like that. Microsoft has there are pre-created lesson plans that are out there, and sometimes it's in the form of a scavenger hunt, and it can be a math lesson or science or whatever. So there's a good jumping off point for that, and if we expose our students to that as they go out and become teachers, then that's, whether it's Minecraft, by the time they get in the classroom, they still, that would put that thought in their mind that you can use technology. It's not just for any other questions? What is needed in terms of funding to do something like this? I'll have to check if Minecraft will work on a Chromebook. I'm not sure. It should, I think, because it's, well, I don't know. We would need to test that. But as I said before, as far as funding for Minecraft itself, it's free, and so it's kind of cool. My grandson lives a couple of hours away from me, and he'll build a world and invite me in, and he'll go, "Pops, let me show you what I did." So it's at a young age. I'm impressed for an 8-year-old what he's able to do. So I guess it's the modern version of building blocks or Lincoln Logs or something, like that. But I've seen a lot of creativity with younger kids, with the girls in the group that we had. Oh, okay. Holly put a link in there for Chromebook. I think this is recording. Yes, it's recording. Sorry about the technical issues earlier. I would love to help someone and to work with someone if they would, like to help out with this. I know everybody's busy and all of our plates are full, but maybe next semester or over the summer, I would love to help out in some way. And if any of you would like to partner on that, I think that would be fantastic. And I think it'd be a good use of the Innovation Lab.
Thank you so much, Robin. like you said, everyone is busy, but this is the exciting kind of work that we can find time for. So everybody, if you're interested in getting help started with this from Robin, please reach out. And Robin.
That last slide, and if you want to, there's the QR code if you want to zap it with your phone. And it talks, it's a news report on a Girls Who Game Club. Thank you all for listening and being here and putting up with the technical issues earlier. That's all I have. Mete, thanks for the opportunity. And I will see you guys.
Sounds good. Thanks, Robin.
Have
Have a good rest of the week, everyone.